mentioned earlier in the week that I was going to do a video about my dad because it's his 60th birthday today, and I thought to myself, do you know what? He's a bloody legend. I've known the man for 33 years, funnily enough, and throughout that entire time, he's been absolutely brilliant. I'm very proud that he's my dad. I'm very, impressed with his life story, and I thought, I'm going to talk about how awesome he is. Just a little fact. I'm not going to go through all the bits and pieces. I'm not going to drag through all the things he's ever done. I don't want it to become like a 10-hour long video, but just little bits that impressed me and made me think, how do I stack up as a man, as a dad, as a person to my old man? I'm going to start off with the fact that him being 60 means that he was the exact same age when I was born as I was when Bosco was born. And I look at that and think, Jesus, Bosco could be doing a video about me in 27 years and the things I've done. And I know that a lot of these things he'll never be able to claim have happened. Now, some of the things that blow my mind, because they're not that normal, are things like my dad's not had a day off sick from work in over 30 years. Like, I mean, genuinely. I mean, he hurt himself one day and booked a week off work as holiday to keep his record going, which kind of cheats a little bit, but it wasn't his fault he got hurt. So I think he was able to maintain his record. I'm all excited because I'm this close. I'm like a month away from doing one full year at my job without having a day off sick. And in that time, I've had loads of doctor's appointments. I've had loads of where I've had to chip off early for whatever reason. But I'm excited because at the moment it says I've had one day in that entire year, and that was November 27th last year. And I'm this close to starting a record of my own. But I know full well I'm probably not going to see that rise to 2 years. I can't believe that he's seen it go over 30. He's also, in that time, stayed at the same company the entire time and got like a commemorative little thing that said, thank you for working here for so long and thank you for not having any time off. He got taken out for like dinner with his boss and stuff like that. And they've really, thumbs up to him, just said, that's amazing, well done. And that's something small that just blows me away. And I always like remembering and telling my kids about it because I think hopefully it will inspire them to be less of a sick note than I was growing up. I always used to say to him, well, you've had 30 years of not missing a day of work, but I've had 5 days in front of the TV on the sofa watching Jeremy Kyle. Like, who's the winner out of this, me or you? I still think it's him. That's quite a random thing, but I'm never going to achieve this next one. He's a black belt in karate, and I find that amazing. That's all down to his patience and his hardcore man of just pure strength. Black belt in karate. I think he went to the next bit beyond that. He hasn't done it in a few years, but to be fair, but I remember he achieved that when I must have been about 10, and I'm thinking, so I've got basically 4 years to start karate and become a black belt if I'm going to match that accolade for when Bosco reaches that age. It's just mental to think, because he did that and then he had a few years off doing stuff, and then me and him used to do Wing Chun together. I left to go to uni and stopped doing that, but he carried on for a little bit longer. I know he got to like the third form that goes in different, you learn all these moves in a kind of, I want to say dance, but that makes it sound really feminine. It's like moves that you have to do to show you can master all the moves perfectly. And I got to the second one, he got to the third one. I wish we both kept doing it. It was a great little thing. But I think he's seriously, if you were to get in an altercation with him, and I don't want to sound like I'm saying my dad's stronger than your dad, but he's very strong and very tough. I kind of made a list of things that I thought were quite, good ways to sum him up. So I've got hard working, because I think he's gone through the effort of all that work. He's gone through the black belt, but I couldn't sum it up in any other way other than badass. Getting a black belt is not the most badass thing I've ever seen the man do. I stood with him once helping him in the garden. This is the man who taught me to smash through a wall with a sledgehammer, but I watched him put something together and he was trying to break up bricks with a big sledgehammer and a chisel, and the chisel thing that he had in his hand, I don't know quite what it was, but he hit it down, and instead of hitting the stone, it went into his own leg, and he basically chiseled a chunk out of his leg. Now, I was white as a ghost, pretty much crying watching this happen. I remember it like it happened this morning. He didn't even notice it had happened and carried on working on what he was working on. And basically when I was like, your leg! And he was like, what? And he looks down and there's just blood coming out of him. And he just carried on with what he was doing. And then when he was finished, went and got a tissue and just cleaned it up. And I'm thinking, you just smashed a piece of metal into your own leg. Didn't even connect the dots. He just didn't care. I don't know how he did it, but I get paper cuts. I cut myself opening a tin of tuna, and I'm still, I'm like, oh, damn paper cuts. You know, it bothers me forever. I don't know how he did it. I'd have had a month off work just from that. But he damaged his wrist driving a truck thing at work and just carried on going in like it was nothing. I just different breed. People talk about different generations having different levels of tolerance. I think this is one of those times where I'm like, yeah, fair enough. The manliness and the strength skipped me. I think I got my mum's manliness, basically, i.e. she's a woman. He's an amazing artist. That's another thing I didn't inherit from him. Now, this man used to just draw amazing pictures. I remember being a kid and he'd draw me these awesome posters of Sonic the Hedgehog. He drew my sister, the Little Mermaid. I had loads of posters that he'd made on my wall of characters that he just drew for me. He used to draw all the artwork for our school fates, and they'd be on the front of all these different tables. And then at the end of them, I'd go around and take the ones I liked home and put them on my wall. And for his birthday, my mum's got him a tablet for drawing again, and we're trying to encourage him to draw characters for us. My sister wants to try and write a kid's book and get him to draw like this turtle character she's come up with that she's talking about, and it's exciting thinking he's not drawn for a little while, but I want him to get back into it because he's so good. I remember having this book of all this artwork that he had drawn of dragons and stuff that I used to just look at as a kid. I'd flick through it and think it was the most amazing thing. Now, I have not got the art ability that he has. I find it cute, actually, that I draw and Oliver finds them fascinating. He'll sit and look at pictures I've drawn and he'll be fascinated in the same way I was. So I get excited that I get to experience that bit of him thinking something I've drawn was awesome. But my pictures are nowhere near. My pictures are terrible. I cannot draw. I wish it's practice. I reckon I know I've got the genetics to draw. If I'd practice, I could draw like him, but I don't need to because he can do it. So that's that. What else did I write down? He's hilarious for his little tradition. He's a great dad and a great granddad for his little traditions that he does. And two of the ones that come to mind for me, he perseveres with a joke that probably had its day over 20 years ago. But every April Fool's Day, he used to stuff stuff in our shoes and cover stuff up and stuff like that. Just little silly things that you just be like, he got me. But even though it's not the biggest prank in the world, he's not bringing the house down on me or whatever. But you just knew that he was going to do it. If you remembered in time, you'd be like, I know that my shoes are stuffed with paper. And he always texts us, are you going to get the kids? And I'm like, nah, that's more your thing. But I'd love him for the fact that he just perseveres with it no matter what. Every single December, he starts posting pictures of. So my mum had this snowman candle, and we've wanted to burn it for years, and she'd never let us because it was a decorative candle, and you shouldn't burn decorative candles and all this nonsense. And I say to her, it's a candle, let us melt him. He's a snowman, he's meant to melt, let us burn him, come on. And it got to the point where my dad hid it. And he used to send out little pictures of the snowman on its travels around the world, and we'd get these updates just in our inbox or on Facebook. Like, here I am in the jungle, and there'd be like a tiger just leaning over its shoulder in a picture. What makes it brilliant is it's just a picture of a snowman in front of a PC monitor, and he just changed the picture in the background, and you can tell it's the monitor, and it's not anything fancy, but it's brilliant. You'd show that to the kids, you'd be like, oh, the snowman's hiding again, there he is in the desert or whatever. And this has been a family tradition that he's done for, God, it must be at least 10 years. It's longer than Emily's been alive, definitely. He was doing it before we had his grandkids, just for me and my sister to just take the mickey and have a fun little thing with it. But it's mad to think that's become a tradition, and it's just cute little things like that. The kids love him for it, and you know he has all these things. He's because he's strong and he's very tall. He's like 6 foot something tall, and massive. When the kids come around, they're like jumping on him. He's throwing them all over the place. It's just ridiculous. Even as an adult, he used to pick me up if I was kicking off. I remember getting shirty with him about something, and he just picked me up, held me over the dog. The dog starts licking at my face and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, he probably couldn't do it now. He's 60, and I'm probably like 20 stone. But when I was slightly lighter and he was slightly younger, he could just flip me up, hold me over a dog, and the dog would just be licking at me and all sorts. I made a note and I read it and I was like, oh Jesus, that's awful. I realised when I'm saying he's strong, he's manly, he's athletic, he's incredibly patient. He put up with me and my mum for 35 years for my mum and 33 years for me. All these things, I was listing it through and I was like, he's definitely my dad. And the reason I know he's definitely my dad and it's not the milkman or someone is I've got his terrible haircut. I've inherited his terrible haircut. Our hair is virtually the same shape. Now it suits him. That's the frustrating thing. It suits him down to the ground. He looks normal. my hair is awful. I look like an idiot. It doesn't suit me at all. And it's not oh yeah, but you probably just went to the same barber growing up and it probably just got cut that way. No, like, as a kid, I used to get my hair was my uncle used to just shave my hair for me. I had no hair growing up, and then it grew, and it always defaults to this annoying shape. No matter what, I used to have my hair spiky for years. I've let my hair grow really long, like out. I mean, not an afro, but I've just let it grow long. I've left it. I've had it short. It always conforms to the same shape as his. I also remember the day I realised I was getting old when I was staying at his. I got up. I walked down to the kitchen. I sat down and we were both sat. He was reading the paper and I was reading my phone. And I looked up and thought, he's wearing a blue t-shirt and whatever trousers it was, and I'm wearing a blue t-shirt and pretty much the same trousers, and I think we were wearing the same shoes pretty much. And I just thought, Jesus, do I get changed? I basically turned into my dad. I think we just sat in the same routine, massive cup of tea, drinking from it. It was a bit of a weird sort of thought to think I've arrived. I'm an old man now, but without any of the stature. He makes me laugh in that, for quite a quiet, unassuming behemoth of a man, he's a massive Iron Maiden fan, like one of the biggest metal bands in the world, and he's a massive fan. He's seen them live about a bazillion times. He always picks the weirdest seat right up the back, though. He sits right up in row ZZ, like with binoculars almost, and I don't know how he does it, but we've seen him live from a million miles away about a bajillion times. He also drives a luminous orange Mustang. So it's the traditional Mustang colour, bright orange, but apparently Ford discontinued that colour of Mustang because literally no one bought it. I'm pretty sure it's him and maybe 2 other people in the whole of the UK. They don't sell that colour anymore because nobody bought it, but he drives around. That's his day-to-day car. He gets up and drives to work in a bright orange Mustang. I love it because it's just out of character. He's very quiet. He reads constantly. We go on holiday and he'll rattle through 15, 20 books in a 10-day holiday. Just really patient. His birthday presents this year with a drawing, a pair of binoculars, and just have a chilled out stuff like that. And then he's driving around in his bright orange Mustang, listening to Iron Maiden at top volume, with his black belt in karate. He served in the army and all stuff like that. And he's a very detailed man. I look at it. I don't want to keep waffling on, but I'm very, very proud of him. I am. He's definitely my hero. And I wish I could be as awesome as him. And I know we're all different in our own way and all that stuff, but he's very, very cool. And I don't think he gets enough recognition for being as cool as he definitely is. Like, a few of the things on the list would make him cool, but he is really cool. And yeah, I'm very impressed. I wish I could be as cool as him. Now, part of the reason I want to do this is I want people to go on Twitter and I want them to tweet him happy birthday. So I'm going to put out his Twitter address. It's oldtoad15. That's OLDTOAD 15. I'm not sure. He told me that that's his username because that's what my mum calls him. I'm certain that he was assigned that username by Telewest Broadband back in the 90s and he just kept it. And I find it really bizarre. But if you're not sure you got the right person, I love him for this. His username on Twitter, his handle that comes up when you search for him, is Sheepdog's Dad. Already, I didn't ask him to do that. I think he's secretly proud of me. He'd never say it, but I reckon he's secretly proud that he's got this loser son who talks a lot on the internet and gads about doing stupid stuff. But he's bought my books and read them, even though he's heard all my stories before. He's very supportive. As I say, he's a frigging legend. So happy birthday, Dad. I'm very proud of you. He retires next week. He's mental in one way. He's very odd in little things. He was offered the chance to retire last week, but because he was away this week, he said, no, I'll retire next week. I think he wants to just sort it out, I guess. He wants to say goodbye to everyone. But I said to him, if you'd retired last week, you'd have retired in your 50s. You're retiring next week, you're retiring in your 60s. That's night and day. That's so different. They mean different things. So anyway, much respect to him. He's retiring earlier than most people would get to. So I'm hoping he gets to enjoy a very, very, very long retirement. I'm excited to see what happens next. And yeah, if you're watching, Dad, love you lots and happy birthday. And as I say, give the man a tweet. Wish him well. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Sorry, this is a bit of a waffly one, but yeah, I hope it served its purpose. I'm very proud of my dad. And yeah, I'll see you. What day is it? It's Wednesday, so I'll see you at the weekend. Cheers.